I'm going to walk you through creating the coil clay tile. You're going to use your 4x4 template and your cutting tool, and you are going to cut that out. Notice I'm keeping my cutting tool straight in line with the template. I'm not angling out or in. By keeping my cutting tool nice and straight, I am getting a nice clean 45-degree angle on that tile, on the tile edge. We're going to put our scraps off to the side, and then you're going to just smooth. You can use the template to kind of help support that tile. Smoothing the edges. Now I'm going to peel off the template, set that to the side, and smooth the other edge. Take your damp paper towel and put that over the coils so that they stay nice and damp. Dry coils are very difficult to work with. Now we're going to make some coils. Take some scraps. It can be one piece of slab, it can be multiple pieces, and we're just going to compress those in our hand to make a log. You don't need to worry about air pockets or anything like that in this process, because by doing the compression, you're squeezing all of that out. Notice how I'm using the palms of my hands and not my fingertips to make the coil. That'll help keep everything nice and even. As I start to roll out the coil, I'm going to use a combination of my fingers and my palms to get a smooth, even coil. I am rolling while applying gentle pressure, and I'm also pulling my fingers and hands away from one another, and that will help stretch your coil. To cut your coil, you can use your cutting tool, or you can just apply a gentle twist and get a nice clean break. If you're finding the coil drying out a little bit, just dip your hands in the water and add some of that moisture back into the clay. It dries out really fast. Take special care on the ends of your ropes to make sure that they're not too thick. You actually may want to taper those ends a little bit, and that will help you coil. A size of a pencil is about the smallest coil you should have the students make. I'm going to pause the video for a second. When you go to do that first curve, make sure that it doesn't crack. You can prevent cracking by using a little bit of water on the outside edge of that curved piece, and that can help prevent the crack. Test your letter on your tile to make sure that you have enough coil, and also to make sure you are leaving enough room to put some decoration around it. I'm going to start my coil, and as I mentioned earlier, if you're getting some cracking, you can take a little bit of water and put it on that outside edge, and that will prevent it from cracking and or fix the cracks that have already occurred. On the tiles, we're not going to use a traditional scratch and attach method. Instead, we're going to gently rub each spot with a toothbrush with a little bit of water on it and create clay glue, which is called slip, and that will adhere or glue those two pieces together. So you want to do that everywhere that the clay overlaps. Okay, so now I'm going to start creating that clay glue, that slip on the tile. Just brush it gently. We're not pressing very hard. It's actually very, very gentle. and you're just looking for that kind of mud, slippery mud to form. And then do the same thing on the back of your piece, getting a little bit of rough, just a gentle texture in there. You're not trying to rough it up like we do with the scratch and attach technique when we're using the forks. Now that I have the coils where I want them on the tile, I'm going to start gently pressing the coil, and that will adhere the two pieces together. As you press the coil in, you'll start to feel it adhere, and it's no longer slipping around on that tile. It's become quite firm. I'm going to roll out another coil and make another decorative piece. Notice that I'm trying to keep my fingers together as much as possible. I'm not spreading out my fingers. That can really make some lumpy clay. As I start to roll up this coil, I'm going to preemptively put some water on the outside edge of that coil so that it can roll hopefully without cracking. If you get some cracks on the inside, that's not really a big deal because you are going to cover those up as you coil it up. And here we go on the other end, and we're going to do the same thing. Put some water preemptively on that outer edge and start the coil. This one broke a little bit, but I recovered it. As you try to fit the piece that you just made onto your tile, make sure the top is not overlapping, or maybe protruding is a better word. Make sure that it doesn't protrude past the edge of your tile. You want to keep that in. You don't want to have little pieces out there. Those will just break more easily and can be really frustrating. Once your students are done with their projects, take a quick once-over and make sure all of those pieces are well attached and that there's not any really rough spots on the tiles. Those rough spots can, when they're fired, they can actually get pretty sharp. So just take a look at them and then make sure to write their name and the year on the bottom of the piece. Then set them in the box and let them dry for 2 weeks.